Hello, everybody. It's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Everything's good, for sure. Could be better, maybe. Could be worse. Could be kind of like Mr. Rogers. Won't you be like my neighbor? Or be my neighbor. Is that it? Oh, I don't mind embarrassing myself here. Maybe millions one day will listen to my antics. But, anyways, today's topic of conversation is expectations. We all have them. And before I get into it, I'm going to give an explanation about this talk first. I kind of feel like Johnny Cash today, the man in black. And the reason being, I was watching an interview with him, it was years and years and years ago. And he talked about how he wrote his songs and where he got his inspirations from. And I talked to my friend Jeff this morning about it. I said, do you know how Johnny Cash wrote most of his songs? He goes, no, how? I said, by reading the newspaper. It was only his interpretation of a news article and whatever went on through his mind. But, it speaks, right? So, and what I mean by that is, I forget where I was. I was sitting, doom scrolling on Facebook, which is not a good thing. And this thing came up on my feed about, I think it was on dating in British Columbia. Anyway, some lady made a post and it caught my eye, and I started reading it. And what it was, and she's asking people out there if she was right with her standards or her expectations that there's no good men out there. They're all out of shape. They only think of one thing. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. And she's talking about how active she is and how proud of herself she is, which is a good thing. And talking about how she can't meet a man that intellectually stimulates her, that takes care of themselves. So I'm reading this, and there's these comments, and it's like, oh, all the women are going, oh, go girl, go girl, go girl, like this. And I thought, oh, I better chime in on this. This is like a good one. So I wrote a thing down, and I said, maybe your expectations have turned into judgment? Question mark. Nobody responded. Of course not. Because, when we have, and the reason I'm talking about this, like everybody does it. I had a conversation with a lady I know the other day, and she was talking about how she doesn't need a man and all these things, and she's changed, and, and she was asking me what I thought. And I was telling her what I thought. She wasn't listening. And I just said at the end, I said, you really want to know what I think? She says, yeah, I do. I said, well, I really want you to listen. She said, what is it? This isn't a me problem. This is a you problem. That's something my son would say. He said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, I don't even know why you're discussing this with me. Because this isn't my problem. This is your problem. Something you need to figure out. I said, maybe you figure it out by being alone. You don't need anybody. Fair enough, leave it alone. Why are you trying to convince yourself of it? I don't know. Just don't get it. I don't even know why I was asked these questions. It's like, I guess justifying her feelings somehow. And that conversation lasted like 45 minutes till the end. And as soon as I said that, boom, conversation was over, because it was nothing about anybody except herself. So anyway, the reason I'm mentioning these two things It's not a woman thing or a man thing, or women shouldn't be strong or whatever. You shouldn't take care of yourself. All those things are good. But the reason I mention it is we have to be very careful when we're looking at things, and we have these expectations that aren't realistic, because what they do is they turn into judgment. And if we're not clear and we're not present, we're really going to miss out what the person is, right? Because what you're doing is you're projecting your own thoughts and feelings on that individual, and it's highly inaccurate. It's just, it's not the way it is. It's kind of like what I was talking about yesterday, right? Or no, not yesterday, the day before. Pardon me, I skipped the day. I needed a break. My brain started to hurt. But yeah, I think in life, a lot of people have some very unrealistic expectations. They build themselves up by talking to themselves too much about it. And things like social media, like these, just say dating sites, for example, or even the wrong person on YouTube, everybody's trying to tell how great they are. And they become quite narcissistic, and their expectations are completely out of whack because they're not being truthful. And then that spreads. It's like a cancer, right? That's the way I feel about it. If I really don't expect anything from anybody, how can I be disappointed? I know myself, I have a real hard time still, even though I try not to, but confusing the difference between expectations and judgment, and how I am passing judgment on people in my daily life. Even in business, their behavior. It's not necessarily a good thing. You miss out on a lot, right? You gotta let go. I hope this isn't rambling on too much, but really, if we could kind of keep it in check and be more concerned about ourselves and our daily lives and being a good person, and not projecting what we expect out of others onto them, and just accept them for who they are, we'd sure be a lot happier. I'm sure I would imagine people in my age bracket that are on their own would have a lot more success in finding somebody that's compatible to be with. That's just about it, Or maybe what you should have done, just worked on a lot harder with what you already had. Why are we always searching for something outside of ourselves? Why are we always searching something to justify what we need? Truth of it, the secret is always within you. Any type of, how would you say, if you're content, that would be a good word. Content. How can you be content in life if you're always projecting your judgment and expectations on others? You will sorely be disappointed. Okay, that's my chat for today. I hope it makes sense. I don't go do these things with any form of I don't know, what is it, like a script or anything like that. Just kind of what comes to my mind, and I try and use what I've learned and read and different things to pass that on to others, and hopefully somebody gets something out of it. Anyways, I love you all. Remember to be a good person, stoic, musician. Be kind to yourself. right? Every day is a new day. Every day is a day we can reinvent ourselves and do something positive because yesterday's done. Okay? Remember that. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Get your head out of your ass, right? Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.